You're watching Meet the Movie Press. Today we're going to be talking about the possibility of The Rock as the Wolfman, the giant cast of Spider-Man Homecoming, a bunch of hot rumors, and new releases such as The Shallows and Independence Day. Resurgence. Tune in.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Meet the Movie Press.
Good morning, everybody. And Simon Thompson, my pal.
Eventually.
My name is Jeff Sneider. I am host of Meet the Movie Press.
Hello there, Jeff. Welcome back.
I am back. Simon, you were great the past 2 weeks.
Thank
Introduce
you.
yourself.
Hello. My name is Simon Thompson. It's like being the new boy in school. You can find me on Twitter at ShowbizSimon, on Instagram at ShowbizSimon, and on Facebook at This Is Simon Thompson.
Boom. Okay. Yeah. So, we're starting a little late today. You had a late night.
I did. I stayed up last night watching the results of the EU referendum. This is really boring for people who don't live in the UK.
But it's important.
It's basically important because it's kind of like Britain did itself up the bumhole last night by leaving Europe.
Pretty crazy stuff.
Just insane. I'm very, very disappointed in the UK right now. Go to the naughty corner, UK. Because you're not a good child.
Speaking of the naughty corner, we both took the time last night to... We're going to talk about some new releases first before we get to the rumors and the news and all that good stuff.
Yes.
Has
The Rock been cast in any films recently?
Actually, there were 2 Rock announcements this week, so he's keeping it going. Yeah. But... okay, so I'm sorry to hear about your beloved country.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And the Brexit, if you will.
Like a spoiled child.
I watched my John Oliver, so I know a little bit about what was going on there. Surprising, but
I'm not going home, by the way.
Not as
this is my home now. Don't vote for Trump.
There is no home now.
Don't vote for Trump because then I have nowhere to go.
But the only thing, crazier or maybe not quite as crazy, but just as silly, Independence Day, Resurgence. We both saw it last night.
Saw it last
sort
night.
of.
Not together.
Sort of.
I felt you were there in spirit.
What did you think?
Well, I saw it, and I paid to see it.
Yeah, I bet I paid more.
I paid $14.85.
$22.
What the? Where the hell did you see it?
I'm gonna get to that, but
okay.
Okay, so
I saw
it
Will
last
Smith's
night.
House.
Exactly, you have to pay admission to go to Will's.
Did they mention he was dead enough times?
Seriously.
Okay.
Your father was a great man.
He's dead. He's dead.
I saw it as the 3rd film of a triple header last night.
Wow,
I got really ambitious.
Sorry.
I wanted to be prepared for today's show. Alas, I'm old. And around 1 a.m. I saw an 11:30 show at AMC Century City. And it was the Dolby Theater, with the Dolby Atmos. So you're paying $22 for a recliner seat and the sound.
Wow.
Now, when you're in a recliner seat, though, at 1 a.m,
yeah, you want to have a sleep.
Easy to fall asleep.
Yeah.
And I started to drift off, and it was just like, after 75 minutes, I'm like, there's another hour left. I got to get out of here.
Did you miss the best bit of the film, though? Did you miss the best bit?
What was the best bit?
The end.
Yeah. I did. I missed the end.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
I tapped out around the time that the giant white sphere came out of the ship. And
Hello, I'm a white sphere. I'm the enemy of the aliens. I'm like, you're a space bollock.
And then Jeff Goldblum shows up, and he's like, our plan is to hide this sphere in something else. And at that point I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Fuck that shit.
I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Okay. So Independence Day, I love. Should we just do this? Should we just do this now?
Dive in.
Let's do it. Independence Day, I love. That was 20 years ago. A part of the love of Independence Day is the fact they use models to blow shit up, to make stuff feel real.
Right.
Here, it is so CGI.
Oh my God.
You could literally be in the aisle at fucking Ralph's. It wouldn't matter. You could be taking a shit.
That's where Liam Hemsworth was taking a shit.
They'll just put it in behind you, and it doesn't matter. It was not a terrible film. It just was not a good film.
Everything was on fire all the time.
And it was like laid on with trowels, and it's like, oh, there's an alien.
It felt like Star Wars. It felt like it was just nothing.
I'll tell you what, though. If you need to save the planet, just shave Bill Pullman. Because if he has a beard, he's wacky as fuck.
That's the other thing.
If you shave him, He's Copus Mentes, and he's flying a plane, and he's saving the Earth.
It's 1 a.m. I mean, normally I'm watching nonsense like X-Men Apocalypse or Batman vs Superman.
I'm usually watching porn.
And like those are like, I'm just saying, blockbuster movies, and those have pretty good casts for the most part. You want to see Oscar Isaac, you want to see Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
This movie, I'm like, what am I really watching here? I'm watching Bill Pullman, Judd Hirsch, and Jeff Goldblum.
Who had nothing else to do.
Hang out with Liam Hemsworth.
Why would you do that?
Eject.
Yeah.
Eject the
And also a bunch of
pilot
kids in a school bus. Now, I'm not being funny, but if I saw an old man...
I don't even think I saw that part.
If I saw an old man traveling through the desert with a bus full of school kids... I'd probably call the fucking cops.
Who are all those kids and like Joey King?
My parents have died. I'm so sad. Hang on. You just picked up an old man who was on a roof, passed out, and now he's driving your bus. Hang on, you found some more kids at a gas station. Yeah, get on. I'm like, no. It looks like the Pedo Express.
Brent Spiner was fun in the first movie when he shows up for,
what was the deal with his...
Or whatever. He's like a lead in a summer blockbuster.
But what, what was the deal with his male friend?
I mean, that's a nice little choice that Roland Emmerich made.
Yeah, it is. But I wasn't aware of that.
No,
in the first film. Hang on, make him gay, and it's like there's a really tender moment.
It was so goofy
at the end. Where it's like, I got something to say to you. A spoiler, by the way. Sorry. And he goes, that was meant to be a sweater, and I'm like, I didn't realize he was wearing a wool thing around his neck, and I'm like,
75 minutes. I was out.
Yeah.
There's no need to see this movie.
That was for me was a 3p movie. I went out for 3p's.
I probably would have stayed for the whole thing if it was like if I started at 7 o'clock, 7:30, like a normal press screening. But I wasn't invited.
I couldn't wait to get back to the bar. To be honest with you,
The Shallows. What'd you think of that? That was probably the best movie I saw yesterday. Although
The Shallows, I love that. I had a lot of. Did you see my tweets yesterday?
No.
I had a lot of trolling.
Okay.
From that. I'll just pull up some of my
in the
favorites.
meantime, I'll talk about
I reviewed the film for IGN, and IGN being as much as I love it, they have some diehard fans. So here are some of the trolling comments that I got. Wonder how much IGN paid for this glowing review. I gave it a 9 out of 10 because I really enjoyed the film.
9 out of 10 for The Shallows.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Jesus
here's another
Christ.
random one. Wonder if this was a purchase review. I don't think they have the budget to purchase review. It's probably just a good movie. Yes, indeed it was. And someone asked, who is Simon Thompson and what are his hobbies? Which I thought was a really weird trolling comment. It's like, well, drinking beer and masturbating.
He's a
but
surfer.
Yeah, but someone else picked up and like, well, clearly this person who wrote the review does not surf. I used to surf as a kid when I was slim.
Really?
Yeah, I used to surf.
I can totally see you hanging 10.
I did used to hang 10.
You hung 9.
I had long hair, I'm afraid. But yeah, someone was like, this was clearly not written by a surfer. I went, this isn't Big Wednesday. This is The Shallow. Someone else got really upset that I said that it was more brutal than Jaws. I said that Jaws, compared to this, was a tea party.
It was pretty brutal. And it's PG-13, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking
I was really surprised. I did not realize that.
Did you like Blake? I thought Blake was good.
I thought she was great. Previously, I've not been a big fan of Blake. I thought she was kind of wallpaper.
Yeah, me too.
But she really owned it. She looks fit. There's a couple of scenes, again, this is something I got picked up in my review, where she's, for no apparent reason, slow-mo. And I'm like, well, that's just clearly fodder for the wank bank.
Well, yeah, I mean, the camera definitely leers over her. It's almost like it's a Michael Bay movie.
But I mean, it's difficult not to when she's pretty much wearing a bikini. No, it's not on her. She's just wearing a bikini most of the time. I really loved it. Seriously.
Her best work since The Town. That said, that ending, I did not care for the ending.
Really?
No.
Ah.
And she just like ducks out of the way as if it's like that easy to just elude a shark in the
water.
Shark
would have totally killed her.
And then, what? I'm not going to spoil what happens, but yeah, the ultimate fate of the shark I thought was not good.
Yeah, I was a bit like, oh, okay. I was impressed by it. I was like, oh, that
I didn't need her to kill. I mean, I didn't need the shark to die. Essentially, I just wanted her to escape. That's all you're rooting for.
But you know what's going to happen. They're going to do a sequel/prequel. Because early on in the film, this is not a spoiler, it is alluded to that somebody had attacked the shark in some way.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think that if this does well enough, and it's predicted to be about a 15 million opening weekend, I think it'll pick up.
Yeah. It was packed last night.
Well, I'm not surprised.
At the theater.
It's a good movie. I like to think off the back of my IGN review.
It was a 9 out of 10 is crazy because it's throwing off what you.
You see,
what was Foxcatcher for you, or like an actual awards
yeah, but
movie?
you can't compare movie to movie. If you're doing a sliding scale of movies comparing,
I know what you mean, in that you feel like The Shallows set goals and hit all those goals.
yeah,
it
and
succeeded
I'm not
in its
shitting
ambition.
on Jaws, but it's kind of like on a scale of 1 to 10, how much did that entertain me? That was a 9.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that it's better than Jaws, but comparing it as a shark movie, I thought it was more intense and scarier
I know what
than
you're
Jaws.
saying in terms of that, because I give really good awards movies 3 stars on my blog, and then a silly Fast and Furious movie 3 stars.
Where can we find your blog, Jeff?
theinsnider.blogspot.com, and they don't get why, how this kind of silly guilty pleasure could have the same star rating as a good movie.
Yeah.
But it's all about the ambitions and what they're going
Yeah,
for.
it's not like a sliding scale of Finding Dory's up here, so then The Shallows will be down here. It's not that kind of thing. It's like out of 10, I enjoyed that 9.
Yeah.
Or as the Germans would say, 9.
I liked it. I just did not like the ending. So for me, it was probably it was like a 6.5.
For me, it lost points on the fact that some of the moments with the whale felt they just looked really CGI, and moments on the rock, it just felt like she was on a soundstage, and I was just that lost me there. But the rest of it, I really enjoyed.
Steven Seagal. He Steven Seagal.
I love the fact that a seagull now has its own IMDb entry. Again, I mentioned that in my review.
Right.
Yeah. To be honest with you, Seagull acted better than Steven Seagal.
I knew that Seagal, actually. Sully.
Before he was famous.
He shit on me when I was at a beach when I was a kid.
Nice. I think he might be the same guy that stole my churro when I was in San Francisco once.
That's fucking
That
Sully.
little motherfucker.
I also saw the Neon Demon last night.
Oh, how was
and
that?
It was eminently watchable,
Yeah.
but it wasn't very good.
Okay.
It ultimately led nowhere. It led to a ridiculous place. Elle Fanning was actually quite good. It's just another case of style over substance.
Yeah.
I thought he could have said something really interesting, and instead he kind of makes a joke out of the whole thing at the end.
Yeah.
But it's worth checking out. I didn't think it was maybe as bad as Only God Forgives, but it also didn't have the highs that Only God Forgives had.
Okay. I liked Only God Forgives. So I was that guy. Yeah. Let's have a look in the chat room. Gregory is asking, was it better than Deep Blue Sea? It's different to Deep Blue Sea. Would I say it's better? It's better in different ways. Yeah.
It's a better movie. The Deep Blue Sea is.
But they're both got sharks in, but they're different movies. Grambo19, fucking Jaws is a perfect movie, please. Simon, please. Now, okay, let's get this straight. I am not saying that The Shallows is better than Jaws. It has a shark in it, and if you compare brutality, this is more brutal and shocking than Jaws.
Yeah, brutal.
I love
brutal does
Jaws,
not mean better.
but it's a different movie. It's a different kind of film.
Of course, these movies aren't even comparable. There's a shark in both of them.
It's comparable in the point that it has a shark in it, but that's about it. So when I compare it to Jaws, I'm not saying Jaws is a lesser film than The Shallows. I'm saying that I enjoyed The Shallows in a very different way to how I watched Jaws and enjoyed Jaws. So, yeah.
Let's talk about some rumors.
Lovely.
I want to skip to the rumor section.
Okay, let's do it.
So, I may be unemployed, but I still hear things.
Okay.
And as such...
Do you see dead people?
I do. I talk to them all the time. So, with that in mind, this is not necessarily reporting.
Is this a scoop?
These are all scoops. I'm going to drop just a whole bunch of fucking scoops right now. Just to prove to you guys that I can still do it. None of this is confirmed. All of it should be taken with a grain of salt. But here we go.
Okay.
The biggest is that it seems that Warner Brothers is courting Justin Lin of Star Trek Beyond to direct Akira.
Oh. The long-delayed project that once had...
Akira does not have any cast attached at this time.
Well, it did, though.
It did,
originally.
yeah, but not anymore. Because Marco Ramirez, the Daredevil guy, just turned in his script, or he was hired last summer. So maybe they've had it for a few months. But anyways, Leonardo DiCaprio is producing.
Okay.
Justin Lin, I think Star Trek Beyond. It looks like it. I think it looks okay.
I'm really excited about that.
Obviously, he's had success with the Fast and Furious films.
Yep.
The only real project on his development plate, as far as I can tell, that is something that is really real, is Space Jam 2. And where is that film? That film is also at Warner Brothers. So maybe Warner Brothers is like, hey, maybe we put Space Jam 2 off if we want to get him on Akira first. Maybe Space Jam 2 could go before Akira. I don't know. All I know is that Warner Brothers really seems to believe in Justin Lin, and he is the target to direct Akira at this time.
He's a good pair of hands.
I mean, obviously, he's Asian. Akira, based on an Asian manga. I'd like to see some Asian faces in this movie too.
Yeah,
and because this is obviously a ripe target.
Do you mean Asian faces like Scarlett Johansson?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, an Asian actor.
Obviously, Ghost in the Shell got a lot of flack for whitewashing. Sure. So maybe with Justin Lin at the helm, he will steer this in the right direction. Again, no word on whether Justin Lin wants to do this movie, but that is who Warner Brothers wants, according to my peeps. Elsewhere, I've heard that Bradley Cooper has fallen out of Max Landis' Deeper. That project where he's like an astronaut who has to go, down to like the lowest point of Earth or whatever.
Yeah. Or as we call it, Transformers 5.
I don't. Who? What?
The lowest point you can go.
Well, it's funny that you actually mentioned that. So Bradley Cooper, I hear, is going to leave Max Landis' Deeper, or has left it, because of his commitment to A Star Is Born.
Okay.
He's directing and starring in A Star Is Born with Lady Gaga.
Right.
So
he's directing.
He's gonna make his directorial debut with A Star Is Born. Jesus. So I hear he's out of Deeper, and the person that I hear is now circling Deeper at MGM is Mark Wahlberg. There you go.
Marky Mark.
Bringing it back to Transformers 5.
Is he going to include the Funky Bunch?
The Funky Bunch will co-star.
Okay, good.
Elsewhere, I hear Sony. Now, this was in the Sony leaks.
Okay.
No one really picked up on it, or a couple of sites did, but it seems to be moving closer to fruition, because obviously there was a lot of stuff in those Sony emails that never happened.
Yep.
It's just an email.
We wish that Annie was one of those things, but sadly that didn't happen.
Sony has its eye on Shame screenwriter Abby Morgan to write a Silver Sable movie.
Okay.
Silver Sable is a Marvel anti-hero associated with Spider-Man. She is a mercenary who hunts war criminals and leads something called the Wild Pack.
Okay.
So that sounds like a female Spider-Man movie. Not a female superhero movie with ties to the Spider-Man universe, which I think I think it was maybe Tom Rothman just alluded to in an interview with Hollywood Reporter about growing the Spider-Man universe.
Okay, here's a thing. Now, this might be pure speculation. I did a piece with Eli Roth recently, because Clown came out last week in theaters and VOD. By the way, it's the #1 horror film on iTunes, which is great.
Actually want to watch it.
You should watch it.
It's a girl over, and
it's a great movie. You scare the shit out of her.
It's a 9 out of 10 for you?
Well, you can watch that, or you can do me.
9 out of 10, Simon?
Which is more terrifying? I would give that a 7.
Okay.
Yeah. For entertainment value.
I'm still getting a feel for your rating system.
Well, I just go with the flow. But yeah, so I spoke to Eli Roth, and Eli Roth is talking to a studio about a comic book character that the studio did not know that they had the rights to, that he is interested in turning into a movie. So.
Okay.
Now, Eli Roth recently announced a new project with Jim Carrey and one of my, actually genuinely in life, one of my best friends, a guy called John Kroger, who is writing the screenplay for a new film. So he is looking to move into that big budget arena. This Jim Carrey movie is going to be that kind of thing at DreamWorks. So this could be, potentially, a project that Eli Roth could be attached to. Now, that might be speculation.
He just signed on to 2 projects this week.
You did. Yeah, one of them is this film with Jim Carrey.
Right.
That my friend's writing. Right. Which I've sat on for like 6 months, and I've been dying to talk about it.
I'd heard about it too. I think I'd contacted right before parting ways with the wrap. I think I'd reached out to Jim's people.
Yeah.
And to Eli's people. I remember talking to both their publicists.
They had a real. It was just.
It's over at Mandeville, right? With Todd Lieberman. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, they came over and they were inking the deal around the Oscars, because John came over and stayed with my wife and I in our apartment in Hollywood, and he was going to meetings with Eli and various other people. So, so this could be the project that Eli potentially could be interested in, because it's a small character within the universe that studios perhaps potentially previously didn't know they had. So could we see this being the Eli Roth movie that he was talking about?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, I'm going to post a link to the Eli Roth interview.
All right.
In the show notes.
Guys, keep
just putting that out there. Pure
right.
speculation. That would sound like an Eli Roth movie. Kind of like Inglourious Bastards, but
we'll see.
Spandex.
I actually liked him on the Death Wish project.
So
I think that's a good fit.
That's
I still don't
really
know. You got to get rid of Bruce Willis. Got to get rid of Bruce Willis.
You can't. No, come on.
Bruce Willis denotes B-movie these days. I'm sorry.
That's like uninviting an uncle to the wedding. You know the uncle that you never see but kind of gives you $50 whenever you see him?
Much rather see a guy like Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, yeah, you're in. Yep. Okay, I'm on board. Yeah. But I love Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis and I lost our hair together. You know, I chart my hair loss with Bruce Willis's filmography.
I got more. I got more at my sleeve before we get to the news. And again, we only have about 17 minutes left in the show.
Really?
Yeah, we got to wrap up around 10:40, 10:45.
Sorry, I was late.
No, it's all right.
Watching my country.
There's a couple more. I hear that Disney is looking to move on a movie called Sister Act 3. What? And that it may look to its in-house writers program to generate ideas for that. I don't think that Whoopi Goldberg would star. I think maybe, she could be maybe the mother nun to a younger nun. I don't know.
I'm having none of it.
It could be a relative of hers, another young black girl.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. There's something. Everyone likes Sister Act, and there's something about a nun who sings. It's a musical. It's in line with the brand over there, and those are the movies you have to start doing at Disney. They're like the new, a new Hocus Pocus and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm not on board with that.
Okay,
I think we've seen a string of sequels recently that have come many years after the original film.
True.
Some work, Finding Dory. Some don't. Independence Day, Resurgence. Right. Let's just leave Sister Act. Because Sister Act 2 was not a great movie. Sister Act, I loved. Sister Act 2, not a great movie.
I agree.
It's been too long. Just stick it on Netflix.
But it's the premise and the it's I'm trying to think. Plus, it's not an Independence Day where you're risking $150 million on this kind of movie. This is like a $30 to $50 million movie. And Disney.
My Big Fat Wedding too.
I don't know. I mean, there's some movies like Queen of Katwe where Disney makes them because they want to reach a different kind of audience. Like I don't think that they expect Queen of Katwe to gross $100 million. So I don't know. I believe this at the very least.
Okay, I believe the idea. League of Their Own 2. Gregory Hested. League of Her Own 2. Sister Act 3, starring the nun from Conjuring 2, from Rich Cruel Sugar.
Good idea.
I'm on board with that.
I still have to see Conjuring 2.
Yeah, nah.
I've got another rumor. This is a big one.
Okay.
Now this is again super early. This is something I was tracking for months, but I've been sitting on a lot of stories, and you start to see them trickle out in the trades, and there's like nothing you can even do. Because you don't even have an email address for people to contact you at. So. I'm just going to throw this out there. This is super early, but I have heard that rapper Kendrick Lamar is being sought for one of the young leads in John Ridley's LA Riots movie over at Broad Green. Kendrick Lamar
is interesting casting.
Is a really talented guy, wildly creative.
And a nice guy.
I think you've seen a lot of rappers move into movies, whether it's Eminem or 50 Cent or whoever. I think he is high on people's lists, and I think that just may be the project. I mean, John Ridley, won an Oscar for 12 Years a Slave. He's got American Crime, very well respected, and that story is obviously super interesting. We'll see if Kendrick Lamar ends up being involved in that one. That'll probably do it. I've got a few others, but we don't need to unload all at once.
Okay.
I don't want to have get too many angry phone calls. There's a ton of other stuff to talk about, and including before we get to the news, and talk about some stuff like The Rock as the Wolfman and whatnot. Anton Yelchin.
Yeah.
Fucking tragic. Can you believe this story? I can't believe it. It's insane.
Yeah, no, I was coming back from the farmer's market in Hollywood on Sunday, and my wife told me, she doesn't really follow that kind of thing, and she told me when we were driving, and it just seemed unbelievable. It's such a massive loss. I interviewed him many, many times over the years for good films and bad films. So the likes of Charlie Bartlett, also the likes of Fright Night, the Star Trek, both the Star Trek movies, and he was just such a nice guy. and he was on the verge of breaking through in a serious way because he was a great actor. You know, he was a really nice guy. He had natural talent, but he wasn't like, I'm a star. And it was such... It's one of those things that happens, and you're like... Oh, to him...
It's just the way I mean, listen, it's terrible when we lost Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
It's terrible when we lost River Phoenix. But... You know,
if
both of those were drug-related deaths.
Yeah,
even the sleeping pills, which, you know, I know is not a heroin overdose.
Yeah.
This was a fucking freak accident. I just can't... What a way to go. Yeah. He was wild. I thought he was so talented. He was just fucking interesting.
Yeah.
Mainly because I could relate to him. Maybe you could too.
Yeah.
Because you and I are not... We don't look like Chris Hemsworth.
What?
You know...
Hang on.
Like, shit.
Oh, what? Really?
Can I borrow your mirror?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You know, he was a guy who got the girl, but he was relatable. Just his sense of humor, something like Burying the Ex.
Great movie.
Where he got my dream girl, Alexandra Daddario.
She's quite attractive.
I interviewed Anton for that film and for House of D when he was just 15 years old.
Yeah.
I think we'd had a couple of other interactions as well. And just always really sweet, really was a film buff, cared about the work, but didn't take himself too seriously. I liked him. There was no like pretense about him.
But also in Star Trek Beyond, he obviously in this movie, he gets the chance to really, and this is something I was at.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. Okay. I was at the Star Trek event at Paramount a couple of weeks ago. And Chris Pine was talking about the fact that this is really where he comes to the fore, because the group that gets split up on this planet, and you know, certain people are paired with certain key cast members, and Anton Yelchin, who they refer to as Little Anton, because he was quite short and he's 27.
He's
compared to the rest of the cast, he was a bit of a chicken. And so he was like, this is really where he comes alive, and they loved him, and all the cast came alive when they talked about Anton. Mm-hmm. And it's just, this was going to be the film that would move him from C-list, I think that's fair, as actor.
I don't think he was C-list.
Potentially
He's a lead.
He's always had the potential to be a lead, but I think in Hollywood, he's not seen as an A-list movie carrier.
He's not fucking Johnny Depp or Brad Pitt.
He was the dependable top C, low B, and this was going to put him to top
get
B.
into B or C. I think he was a lead in indie movies. He could be your leading man in an indie movie.
Well, I mean, if you look at him in Green Room,
he was great.
He was superb in that. Yeah. If you look at him even in studio films like Fright Night, he was way above Christopher Mintz-Plasse and David Tennant in that film. And so he was just about to go that level where it's like, who can we sign? We can sign Anton Yelchin.
It was a big
just
loss.
Such a shame. It's a massive loss.
Big loss, and I hope that somebody holds that car company is a Jeep.
Yeah, that was a car that was on recall.
Yeah, I hope someone holds them responsible.
It's one of those things that happens where you're just like, oh man.
Yeah.
It was, Murphy's Law. It was Sod's Law. It was just a terrible thing.
I hear you. So R.I.P. Anton Yelchin.
Yeah, a massive loss.
We have a few more projects coming out with him, but tough to calculate that one. All right. We'll do the news we got about 10 minutes, so let's hit the big stories. Sure. Deadline did a story about The Rock producing some Shaolin thing, blah, 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 blah. Not important. What was in that story, though, was a rumor that Universal wants The Rock to play the Wolfman in its classic movie monster universe.
Okay.
What do you think of that idea?
Well, I mean, he's in everything else.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fuck it. I think he'd be good. I think he'd be good as the Wolfman. But I'm just getting a little bit... I love The Rock. I'm just getting a bit tired of seeing The Rock. I don't like him in Central Intelligence.
I liked Kevin Hart more.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that film...
I thought it was okay. I actually... I saw it when I was home in Boston. It was like a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with him being the Wolfman. I think that'd be a good addition. And if you've got Russell Crowe, you've got Tom Cruise, and you've got Dwayne Johnson. That's a movie that you have to see, surely. I mean, it couldn't be more mainstream, but it's going to be a film that's going to entertain.
Because it would actually give him something to play. There's actual kind of emotion to the Wolfman. There's a story there. I mean,
we haven't seen him act for quite a while. So
sure, and you know, who knows what the direction that this universe is going, if he'll get that kind of chance, or if it's just, you know, a big action to do. But I don't know. I could see it.
Yeah.
There are worse choices.
Yeah.
I don't know. Would you rather see like a regular type guy turn into the Wolfman?
I mean, I think you can have too many stars can spoil the broth.
I see what you mean.
I would like to see someone in that mix that was not already.
Maybe they'll do it with the Invisible Man.
Maybe they could.
Because it'll be very interesting to see if Johnny Depp sticks around that.
Can we bring
project.
Kevin Bacon back as the Invisible Man?
As Hollow Man.
Because I loved him in Hollow Man.
I love that movie. Raping women.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I'll tell you what I'd like to see as the Invisible Man. Rob Lowe. I know it's a random choice, but of 80s actors who deserve to get a big screen comeback, we've had Downey Jr. I would love to see Rob Lowe doing that. Come on, he'd be amazing. He's a dashing gentleman.
The Rock as the Wolfman is intriguing, but you know who else I could see him as? Because the universe is definitely getting one of these movies.
Someone else is saying Tom Hardy would have been good for the Wolfman.
Yeah, he would have. Van Helsing. The Rock could have made a cool Van Helsing. They're definitely going to end up doing another Van Helsing movie.
Oh, of course they are.
Part of that universe.
I quite like the Hugh Jackman one.
Anyways, we'll move on from Universal. Okay. Spider-Man: Homecoming. Everyone's like giving this movie shit for casting actors.
Really?
That's who is in movies. They're like, oh, another announcement. My God. Like, well, yeah.
Oh, look at you filling the cast.
They're casting the film. That's what happens. Super diverse movie.
Yeah.
This is going to be the most diverse superhero movie ever because it's going to beat Black Panther to theaters, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's coming out next summer.
These are just from the new people.
Yeah.
Bokeem Woodbine, who I loved on Fargo. He's going to be a villain. Hannibal Buress.
Yep.
Logan Marshall Green, obviously a white guy. Abraham Atta from Beasts of No Nation. Donald Glover. Michael Mando. J.J. Toda, who I thought was hilarious as the little flamboyant kid in Other People, which still, I don't even know if that's been picked up or has a release date yet, but hell of a cast.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all pretty interesting names, people I want to see in a comic book movie. Here's hoping it doesn't get overstuffed with villains.
Yeah.
That seems to be the fear.
Well, they're still focusing on Michael Keaton as the villain, so maybe they're going to keep it down.
He is, but supposedly Logan Marshall Green and Bokeem Woodbine are also playing villains, you know, maybe secondary or third villains, but...
Yeah. See, I think that would set it up they could be brought in at a late stage as into setup of the sequel.
It's all about the balance,
which might work.
I mean, a lot of comic book movies, they stuff these villains in, and none of them are that interesting.
Well, we saw that with the Amazing Spider-Man 2. We saw it with Spider-Man 3.
But then look at something like Batman Returns, where it's like the Catwoman and Penguin are both very distinct, and then you have as a tertiary villain Christopher Walken. So each character kind of gets the perfect amount of screen time.
Yeah.
And if someone could crack that code again, you know, I'm all for having 3 villains, but it is a bit of a red flag.
Yeah.
But again, that's Marvel. That is Marvel's creative direction. It's not like this is the Sony approach. Marvel's running point, so I don't know. What else? What did you? By the way, did you look at the? Okay, wait. Let's talk about Ghostbusters for a little bit.
Okay.
Ghostbusters. Did you listen to that theme song?
Yeah.
Wow.
Terrible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who at Sony is listening to this and being like, "You guys, you've nailed it."
You see, I like Fall Out Boy, and I like Missy Elliott.
You're crazy.
But
continue.
It doesn't mean you have to put the two together. It's like, I like driving.
Take Missy Elliott out of that song. It's still a terrible Fallout.
It's not a good...
Take Fall Out Boy out and just have Missy Elliott rapping about ghosts breaking into her...
I know it's on the soundtrack, but I had heard that Pentatonix were going to be doing the theme tune. And I was like, okay, I'm okay with that. But I heard this week, and it was not good. It was not... It's up there with one of the worst... And I'm a big supporter of the Ghostbusters movie. It was one of the worst theme songs for any film that I've ever heard. They should terrible.
Throw away the master tape. Meanwhile, the film is tracking to open at 40 to 50 million, according to THR. I think that's probably a little low, just because it's 3 weeks out, and tracking will eventually pick up.
Yep.
But still, I mean, you'd think that you would like to break 70. I don't know if it will. It's an expensive movie. You're at 155 roughly.
I'm predicting about 60, 65, and I think it's going to have about a 30% to 40% drop in the second week.
30 to it's going to have a big drop. It's going to have.
You see, I think word of mouth is because I've got friends that have read the script and have seen the film.
Okay.
And they say that it's actually it's a good film. It's a good movie.
Okay.
So I think
want it to be
word
good
of
and worse
mouth
than
is going to
anything.
be quite strong. So I think we're going to see 40%, 30-40% drop in the second week.
30% is not happening. It would be lucky to have a 50% drop, I think.
Okay.
But still, a little low. We'll see how it travels, if it travels overseas well. That movie could be in trouble.
We got Dylan. Dylan saying Ghostbusters 40 million opening, then a 60% drop.
The drops for these movies are huge.
Yeah, I mean we're seeing a lot of that at the moment. Grambo 19 is saying I'm still going 80 million for Ghostbusters. I think that's a little high.
Me too.
And we had someone just calling me an asshole on chat, which is
we
nice.
have about 2 to 7 minutes left, so unfortunately no time to discuss
calls.
what's going on in the YouTube world over there. John Boyega is going to star in Catherine Bigelow's Detroit Riots movie.
Genuinely pleased with that because
super interesting.
He's doing quite a lot of franchise stuff. He's lined up to do franchise, and this will be him breaking out his acting muscles with a capital A.
Yep,
which I think is good.
I really like that pairing.
She's a great director.
She's
wonderful. Really good.
I like Kate Winslet doing Woody Allen. Woody Allen's next movie.
You see, I've got a love-hate relationship with Woody Allen.
Yeah, me too. Everybody does. I mean, half his movies are terrible.
But I think part of the thing is, even with a bad movie or an average movie, is if the cast is there, it makes it watchable.
True.
So I'm okay with that.
I want to hear his dialogue coming out of her mouth.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sorkin sounded wonderful, and Steve Jobs with her. Elsewhere, let's see. Did you do the Independence Day website, by the way?
No.
Did you type in your address?
No, life's too short.
It wasn't even fun. It was fucking stupid. Darth Vader's going to be in Star Wars. That's kind of a no-brainer. We'd all heard about that for months, right?
Yeah, Dave Prowse on Twitter was going like, Darth who? Because obviously he's fallen out with the whole George Lucas camp. But yeah, I mean, I think we knew that was going to happen. I think we're going to see a lot of characters coming back in these prequels or side projects where they are going to connect to the main franchise. So
and Forrest Whitaker's playing a character from Clone Wars. Is that right? Did you watch Clone Wars?
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Life's too short, and I have a wife.
So life's not too short though for Bryan Cranston to sign on for Power Rangers.
Yeah,
He's playing the floating head.
I'm not a Power Rangers fan, but I'm weirdly excited about that film. Because the cast that they've created, I'm actually that could be good fun.
What cast that they've created? It's Elizabeth Banks.
Elizabeth Banks.
5 people you never heard of.
Bryan Cranston. Come on, I mean Bryan Cranston as the face that's in A Shaft of Light. He's going to take the piss with that role.
If he was actually in the movie, I would be like, "What are you doing, Bryan Cranston?" It's only because he's playing a floating hologram head or something.
He would be the coke-dealing Power Ranger.
Actually, did you guys know he played a voice of one of the monsters on the old TV show?
That's what
Really?
I thought he already had ties to Power Rangers, so maybe he's throwing them a bone. Either way, he's someone who is not really taken off on the big screen yet.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to help his case. I am excited for The Infiltrator this summer, which I actually think looks good.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like for a guy who I think probably regretted his involvement in the Total Recall reboot. This seems like a bad film. This seems like a strange choice.
That's a film that I've revisited a couple of times, and I don't see any redeeming features in that.
Yeah.
At all. Terminator Salvation, again, an Anton Yelchin film, I watched again recently, and I was actually like, you know what? That doesn't suck as much as I thought it did. But, yeah, no.
Spielberg producing a Walter Cronkite movie.
Yeah.
Do you have a choice for Walter Cronkite? I don't.
I actually thought Bryan Cranston.
There you go.
Because the minute I saw that, I was like, actually, that would work quite well.
Not bad.
I think better than Tom Hanks did for Walt Disney. I just think he'd fit it really nicely.
Speaking of fitting in nicely, Helen Mirren has joined the cast of Fast 8.
Yes. Touched on that last week.
Yeah.
Can't get enough Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
She's in her 70s, but I totally still would. She's a sexy septuagenarian.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm indifferent on that one.
Really?
Leonard Skinner there's gonna be a Leonard Skinner movie. That's another one.
Yeah, not excited about that.
No. Tom Hardy's playing a war photographer.
Yes.
For working title. That sounds interesting.
He could do it well. I'm just worried that they might turn that into an action movie rather than
I don't really know that story
effectively
that well.
a biopic.
War photographers. There seems like a bunch of like war photographer movies in development.
Yeah.
I just don't know how interesting any of them.
Well,
end up being.
Jake Gyllenhaal's doing the story over at Bold Films about. I got it in. That he's doing the biopic and the documentary to do with a war photographer.
Yeah. And
So
Jennifer Lawrence is supposed to play one.
Yeah. There was Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
She wasn't a war photographer.
No, she was a journalist.
Anyways,
I mean, I think he'll be good at that, but I don't think the appetite is whet of the audiences for.
Did you see Ben Affleck on Bill Simmons' show?
No.
Oh man, that is a must-watch interview. I mean,
awkward.
He goes on like a rant about Deflategate, which and it's like. It's totally like there's no publicist parsing his words here. It really does feel like a bar chat with Ben Affleck, and he got fucking into it. His face, as others have noted, though, something's up with Affleck's face, man. He got some filler.
Do you think so?
He looked. Oh, it's not a matter of think. He looked different. You have to check out this interview. We have like 2 minutes left in the show. I wanted to talk about a few trailers, as I had promised on Twitter earlier.
Yes.
You haven't seen any of these.
No. I tend to avoid trailers where I can because I just think there's too much stuff put in trailers these days. But go ahead.
Okay, a bunch of great trailers hit. The best trailer I saw this week, American Honey.
Okay.
The A24 Andrea Arnold movie starring Shia LaBeouf.
Yep.
Fantastic trailer. Got me super excited for that. Gleason, Steve Gleason?
Yeah.
That trailer made me cry. I've watched it like 6 times. It makes me cry each time. I don't know if it's the Pearl Jam song. By the way, the music in American Honey I downloaded on the ride up here.
Okay.
Music is so key to selling these trailers.
Yeah.
Anyways, those two were fantastic. Kicks, this very small little indie movie, fantastic. As was Morris from America. Both of those feature young black boys as the leads.
Okay.
And then there was The Fits came out earlier this month.
Yeah,
it's just a lot of interesting movies with young black leads.
Yeah.
I would just like to see them go on to have
to
careers.
do something rather than. Yeah.
Pete's Dragon, finally, this trailer too got me excited for it, finally.
Yeah.
Did you see that? You didn't see the new trailer?
No, I watched the initial one when that came out.
I wasn't excited initially.
No, I was not excited. You see, also BFG, which comes out very soon.
Not excited.
Not excited.
No. That's been a tricky one. And then finally, the Lovers and the Despot.
Yeah.
That trailer is terrific.
I've seen a lot of talk about that on social media.
Yeah, like Moana didn't really do it for me. Inferno. What? Yeah.
Is The Rock in that?
He is.
Okay, cool.
Inferno looked better than the last Dan Brown movie.
Yeah, but that's like saying, would you rather be punched in the dick or punched in the face? It's like it's a Dan Brown book movie.
I'm holding out some kind of hope.
I'm not.
Jack Reacher. Did you see that one?
Yes.
That looked good.
Tom Cruise.
Dude,
I love Tom Cruise.
Tommy's
Come
back.
on.
He's a badass.
Yeah.
And the Birth of a Nation trailer. I preferred the first one with Strange Fruit as opposed to this kind of poppy Rise Up song that they had in it. So yeah, that kind of did it. We ran down rumors. We ran down the big news of the week.
Yeah.
Trailers, movies we've seen.
So what's out this week? We've got
Independence Day, The Shallows, Neon Demon. I didn't see Free State of Jones.
I've seen Free State of Jones. I enjoyed it. It's not getting great reviews, but I did enjoy it. It's not an easy watch, and I don't know why they released it in the summer because it's going to get trampled. But it's an interesting movie. I enjoyed it. I took stuff away from it.
Listen, I'm unemployed. Maybe I'll find some time to check it out. That'll probably do it for our show this week. I'm sorry we had to cut short. It's a little abbreviated. I am going to be on the Schmodown later today, taking on Sam Levine of Freaks and Geeks and Inglourious Bastards fame. So be sure and check that out over on Collider Video. You've been, thank you to the Popcorn Talk Network. We're coming up on 2 years doing the show.
Really?
Make sure to like them and rate, comment, subscribe on all our stuff.
And tell your friends as well. Get them to watch it.
You can find me on Twitter at the Insnider. Job offers are welcome. Simon?
You can find me on Twitter at ShowbizSimon, Instagram at ShowbizSimon, and on Facebook, this is Simon Thompson.
Guys, you just met the movie press. I'm back. I'm tan. I'm beautiful. Have a great weekend.
producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.